we are trying to get to a point where we can speak a language very fluently. And there are a whole lot of dynamics that goes on in there. But the first step in learning any language at all has to do with listening, because it's through listening that you can decode the sound pattern. And the extent to which you can decode the sound pattern of the language would determine to a large extent how well you are able to learn new words. So, for instance, when I was learning Chinese, I met one student who I was teaching, a little girl. She was about 11 years old. And I was trying to translate a word from English into Chinese so she could better understand it. And I tried to say the word in Chinese, and it sounded just like English. And then she told me, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. So she took the teacher's marker and then she wrote on the board and she told me, look, take note of these sounds: 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are tones that go with the Chinese language. So for instance, if you have a vowel sound like ah, you can have this as a sound. You can have this as a sound. You can have this as a vowel sound, and you can have this also as a vowel sound, even besides this in itself. So there's so many. That means if you're trying to say this word in Chinese, it would not sound the same as it is when you say it this way in English. So, if you're trying also to say this word in Chinese, it would not sound the same as it sounds in English. In English, this would be man, because our vowel sound for A, the short vowel sound is ah. This is not ah. This in Chinese is ah. So this is going to be man. But then also, there's not a single unit sound. So it's usually double. But we're not going to talk about that because we're not learning Chinese. I just want you to understand that every language has a sound pattern. And therefore, when you listen to more of it and your ears get used to the sound pattern, then it makes it easy for new words to be learned. The reason why I can speak really fast and you actually understand everything I said is because you have heard all of these words so many times. And even without actively thinking about what I said, you already can understand because everything has become instinctive. That's what listening is supposed to do for us. So when we are learning a language, we start by listening. We listen a lot, and we learn a single word, and we learn another word, and we learn another word. And then, just like I said, decoding the sound pattern, we are going to take the 10 words, and our mind is going to connect them together to figure out how it sounds. Now, after listening, when we've heard enough, we want to practice and put that into action. And there are two ways to practice. We can start by either reading, or we can go on to listening. Whenever you have your new student and you want them to start reading, you need to have this in mind that it's a whole new ball game you're introducing to them. Maybe they've listened and they know boy, they know dog, they know cat. But the moment you bring in reading, they have to start identifying those characters. And that has nothing to do with the sound, because when they see the A, they need to be able to see the A and say that's an A. Okay, so that's a whole new thing. But then the easy thing with going from listening to speaking directly is that you don't need to start learning something new to be able to speak. So you listen, you get to know more, and then you can speak right off. I hear dog, cat, fish, and then I just say it, as opposed to finding a book and trying to read it. During ESL, sometimes we want the kids to just start reading. But then, have you ever thought about it that for native speakers, you learn to speak the language way before you go to school and you start to read. But essentially, what you need to know is that, and which is a crucial part, is that the beginning is listening. And that means when you are doing this aspect of your teaching, you need to do a whole lot of songs. You need to try and speak as much as possible. Give them more than they can take.